Okay, in this video today, we're going to talk about the questions we think you should ask a financial advisor in the first meeting you go to. Now, myself and Shane have been doing this for over 30 years between us, so we have a little bit of experience in what you should be doing in a financial planning meeting. So these will be the questions we think you should really dig down to when you sit in front of a new financial advisor for the very first time to find out what they're actually going to do for you and how much it's actually going to cost as well. Shorts. You guys are sorted.
I was going to say, can we talk about rugby? Because you asked me off. You know how you guys in Wales, it's
you guys and girls.
I don't know, but guys is everyone in my eyes. It's who have you got? Oh, we have the Blues away this year, and you said to me, "How do you do it?" And I just go, "We've got all the teams away every year, so we've been over here, Italy and Scotland."
Scotland pretty good now, though.
Let's park.
Let's park rugby.
The rugby, because I'm sure people are getting bored of it. And who bloody knows if the game will go ahead in the weekend or not. We all have our own views on that, but let's not get drawn into that because, it is what it is. I'm sure somebody else is going to look to go on strike soon. So, it is what it is. We'll be talking about that next time.
Can we go on strike against HMRC and Inland Revenue and all that?
HMRC and the Inland Revenue do a very, very good job. And let's not have a go at them because it's a very difficult job.
They don't do a very good job.
Sending out invoices to everyone, telling them how much tax they have to pay.
How old is my daughter as of today? Pushing 3.5. So my wife went on maternity leave prior to her being born.
Good job she did.
And as of yet, where it is, HMRC, Department of Work and Pensions, have still not paid maternity leave. It's circa £3,000, I think. They effectively owe me. They still haven't paid me.
You owe them 50p and they'll come after you.
Well, yeah, exactly that. But it's just sums it up. Absolute farce. But there we go. We won't go into that. So we're here today to talk about what we think you should ask a financial advisor in the first meeting you sit with them.
Do you know
what do you think of that?
You know, when you're saying what you should ask, last week, I don't know what day of the week it was, I was invited into a school and I sat down with 2 year 6 classes. And I have no concept or idea of the education system in here, what the different levels are. And I wasn't sure what to expect. And when you said about questions there, the 60 kids, people said to me, go in, don't have a massive agenda because they may interrupt it. They did. But the amount of questions that they asked me about the different aspects of money and happiness and all that was superb.
It's because they're inquisitive.
Now, when it got to the stage,
they're interested.
When they said, how much money do teachers get? Should they go on strike and all that? I went, whoa, we're going down a line. And they knew which buttons to press to get a reaction out of the teachers.
That's because their parents would have been talking about it, see? So that's what would have spurred a lot of that on.
Yeah.
We won't get into politics of that.
You know, it was Careers Day, and they went in and they said, hello.
I bet they really wanted the policeman and the fireman, not the financial planner, though, didn't they?
Yeah, you say that, but I went in and I went, hi guys, my name's Shane. I'm a certified financial planner, a chartered wealth manager, and you could see them yawning, going, oh.
Glaze,
yeah.
You see the glaze
and
on
then,
their eyes.
And then I went, and I'm a podcaster, a YouTuber, and a number 1 best-selling author. And I tell you what, the faces just went, and one guy said, do you do the thing like selling Prime? Like, is it Jake Paul?
Oh, yeah. We ain't at that level.
No.
Christ,
But I tell you, just by changing a way that you explain what you are to kids, different level.
Yeah,
but they are so intelligent because they ask questions that they have
no filter.
Probably a bit like me. They have no filter. Exactly. They want to know an answer to something. They will just ask you.
And that's exactly what you need to do when you see a financial advisor.
Exactly.
So we'll go 1 for 1 on this now. So you'll have a question from each of us on what you should ask your financial advisor. Now, this is an exhaustive list. There's a lot more you could actually ask. But these are some of the things I kind of think you should kind of ask. And it's probably a little bit guided by some of the things that we actually cover off in our meeting for our clients when they're in the first meeting. So the first one for me would be, what services do you provide?
Well, you're asking me. We're an all-encompassing one, aren't we? Predominantly, we start off everyone else, I think, in the financial service sector, it's a blanket thing. Everyone else goes in and goes, "Oh, hello, Mr. Shears. How much money have you got?" Where we start off the other way, we go straight in talking about them, their understanding of what they want to achieve and all that.
Well,
So
their motivation for coming here, because people have you've gone to go and see a financial planner because you've had a trigger.
It's a reaction,
and that could be a pension statement's come through the door. You're looking to retire. You've had some inheritance. You've been unwell. There'll be a trigger point that's got you there. Generally, you won't have just gone, "I want to go and see a financial planner or a financial advisor." You'd be sending a.
You don't sit down this Friday night, have a glass of wine, and go, "Do you know what? Next Monday, I'm going to go in and I'm going to review my pension portfolio." Yeah. But it should be, because a bit like the American versus the UK health system, where America go and get a checkup and they're proactive. The UK kind of go and go to the GP or something because they're reactive, because something happens. Yeah. That needs to be the same in the world of finance. Everyone needs to be proactive and to be on top of things so that nothing, I'm going to say, can go wrong, but if it does go wrong, it's caught at an early stage.
Yeah.
So yes, we do all of the pensions, the investments, the life insurances, the income protections, the critical illness policies, mortgages, savings, investing for kids. But that is all encompassed under the one umbrella of financial planning, because not one part of that is independent of the other. They're all working, moving parts on an individual's life.
So you probably need to just caveat something. So you'll hear different terms for financial advisors, financial planners, wealth managers. Generally, we all do the same type of thing. But what you probably can liken, the word financial advisor, I would say, the word financial advisor is probably more... The word financial advisor is probably more geared towards just selling a product. So that might be just selling a pension, investment, maybe even a mortgage. You'd probably call it that as well, or an insurance product. Where financial planner, in our eyes, should really be looking at planning for the future. So they're looking at your goals-based advice, needs, wants, and actually what you really want to achieve. So that, don't get me wrong, there will be products involved in that, but it's more of a holistic approach where we look at the future and everything like that. So I'd say, so services, Shane kind of covered those off. So it'd be a realm of different services. Some may not offer mortgages, some may not do insurances, some may just be, we very much just deal with investments and pensions and that's it. But just try and find out what services they can offer you under the umbrella of what they are.
Here's one then, and I'll stop coughing now. Have you worked with clients in my situation before?
Yeah, so that's a good one to ask, because you could go there and you could be a very general member of the public who's just got a pension pot. They just want to know what they can do when they retire, or they could have a financial or final salary pension in NHS. But then you could also be, for example, a consultant in the NHS who has, annual allowance issues, lifetime allowance issues. So it's a little bit more complicated when it comes towards the tax planning. Or you could be a business owner who's looking to exit a business, and they may need some advice around how to offset capital gain and so on and so forth. So it's a good question to ask, have you got experience in the type of issues that I've got? Because not every financial advisor or financial planner will be able to deal with these circumstances, because you've got a client who's exiting a business. There's a lot of other tax implications you've got to deal with that you actually might not be very kind of au fait with, and you don't just want someone trying to wing it, basically. So that's what I can say.
Yeah, you can always also add in the divorce case as well.
Yeah,
and working out calculations for pension sharing orders and things like that.
Yeah. So it's kind of just making sure that the advisor does have the experience in the area you're coming to them for. Yeah, because you could be very general, where you just need basic pension advice and retirement advice, and that's okay. A general financial advisor, financial planner should be able to help you with that. If it's a little bit more technical, you just want to check they've got that expertise.
Spot on.
So second one, what are your qualifications?
It's actually the third one.
The third one, what are your qualifications?
Do we have to edit that part? People that work in the world of finances, we can't do 1, 2, 3.
Well, no, we will edit that if you don't say that, so we'll have to start again. Chris, you'll have to edit this.
There's no editing going on in that.
No, there is editing going on in that. Chris will edit that.
Qualifications.
So, number 3, qualifications.
Well done. You're a chartered financial planner and a fellow of the PFS, CII, whichever organization. PFS. So you're at the highest level because there's three organizations within the world of finance: CII, PFS, the CISI, and the LIBF. So you can't go any higher in your what's the word I'm looking for? What's it called? Professional body.
Yeah,
that's as high as you can get to.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Yeah. No, you're not right. So I hold the highest qualification within that. So I'm a chartered fellow. It's taken me a few years to get there, but it puts me in the kind of top, I guess, 1% probably of financial planners. That might not be right. I might have made that up. But it's all right. But no, not to gloat, but it is a qualification I kind of have. And you've got similar, but in the CISI, haven't you? Because you're a certified financial planner, a chartered wealth manager.
Yes.
We're also a chartered financial planning firm as well. So that's another qualification you can look at. Is that so? It's a little bit like the minimum requirement. I'll cover this off before Shane says anything. The minimum requirement is the diploma in financial advice or financial planning. Okay, so it's a level 4 qualification. So that's the minimum level you have to actually give financial advice. Then level 6 is chartered, where I am, and you're at level 7 technically, I think, aren't you?
Yeah, I don't know why.
I don't know how that.
I think when you get to
works,
that stage, it's much of a much. But isn't it funny? Back in the early 2000s, I don't know if you did them. I done my CFPs. They were FPCs.
FPCs. No, I didn't do those. They were pre-2000s, weren't they? Were they?
03. I done mine.
Yeah,
but that was a level 2,
okay.
And I failed it once or twice. But that's 20 odd years ago. So you've gone on from there to 4, and then there's going to be a minimum in years.
Well, because I did the original CF 1 to 6. So I did the CII CF 1 to 6 exams. I then did the diploma level, which was another 5 exams. Then I did a couple of others. I did all my chartered exams. So I probably done circa 20 odd different papers and exams and coursework elements to it. But yeah, from a qualifications point of view, the person you need to go and see, the very minimum needs to have a diploma. If you can find a good chartered financial planner, that's probably where you want to head. But I'm gonna carry this away. Just because they're chartered doesn't mean they're better than a diploma qualified advisor, because you could be chartered with very little experience, albeit to actually hold the chartered qualification, I think if you've got to have a certain amount of years of experience. No, you don't actually. To be fellow, you've got to have 5 years worth of experience, of actual hands-on client experience. But chartered, you'd be a chartered power planner. You actually don't have to be client-facing to do that. Now, you have to be in the industry for a certain amount of time. So just to cover that away, by having the chartered doesn't mean that they are that experienced, okay? It is a good qualification. You need to go deeper into it. So you kind of need to go, if you're chartered, tell me what your experience is, how long you've been in the profession. Like say, I'm chartered, Shane's chartered wealth manager, but we've been doing this collectively 33 years plus probably
something
now.
Silly like that.
I think. So we've got a little bit of experience in it. So that's one of the kind of things I'd say.
Let's move on from qualifications. People are bored. Is it my go? Do you do all the work yourself, or do you pass this on to other advisors to do?
Yeah, okay. So the reason I put this one in is because not all advisors will do all elements of advice, because they may not, for example, do mortgages in-house. Therefore, they'll pass it out to somebody else. Okay, now we do mortgages in-house, so we'll look after them. Some advisors won't do insurance, so they'll pass it out to somebody else to do. Okay, then there's also advice around defined benefit pensions, which is a little bit of a difficult one these days because not many advisors who do it. But if anyone who does do it, they will probably pass it out to somebody else to do it. Now, we don't do final side advice, and we don't actually even pass it out to anyone, okay, because we don't want to be involved in that element of it, because it's not something on our radar. But you just need to check, do they do all the advice themselves? And you also need to kind of work out, because this has happened in the past, some people you go to address themselves as a financial advisor are actually just introducers to other financial advisors. So if you find out actually they don't do any of the work, you probably need to stop that meeting straight away and go and find somebody else, because there are people out there who do just introducer work. There was a company down in, I want to say, Swansea Way, which were, for all intents and purposes, all their branding made out their financial advisors, but actually All they were just introduced us to another firm, which actually turned out to be a bit of a scam firm up in Manchester way. So you just got to be careful. So just do your due diligence. Next one. Okay, will I only deal with you, or will someone else in your team assist with my ongoing service?
See, I think we've chatted about this before. I think for continuity, the face-to-face or Zoom meetings, whatever they may be, should be with that person. But you should be like us. You should have a very good back office team who will deal with a lot of the other stuff. So you may be on a phone to one of the team, as in us, with our team, who will take some calls, do the admin or whatever. But I do think that for continuity purposes and understanding what the plan of action is going forward, it should be the same person all the time going forward. The good thing, I suppose, with us two being front of house is, should something happen, if you're a one-man band, this is where it becomes a bit scary, that if something happened to you, there's nobody there to pick up. Although there is a thing in place that has to be, you have to have a locum, but having a locum in place, realistically, when is somebody going to parachute into your business and understand that you've been dealing with?
There's so many different CRM systems.
You've been dealing with Doris for a certain way, and she doesn't come out to see you, and so it is difficult. But I think having continuity of the one person face to face or Zoom or whatever it may be at the front edge, but all of the other people in the office having a bit of a hands-on on certain aspects of it means that then everyone is involved in it, but in smaller detail. But the person that's the other side of the table or the camera is still getting the same face, saying the same things in the same format, even though there is a lot of people in the background that they don't see involved in that. Yeah,
exactly. And if you find an advisor like that, ideally you just want to make sure that whoever they're dealing, they introduce you the earliest possible stage. Say you're going to be dealing with X, Y, and Z, who might be doing the admin and paperwork side of it, but I'll do the main kind of planning side. So so it's a good one.
That follows on. Then how often do we meet?
Yeah, okay. So I guess that varies, doesn't it? From historically, it was once a year.
Annual review
meeting.
It's grown by, I'm the best in the world. It's fallen by, it's not my fault.
It's fallen by, I'm going to change your fund, which isn't always the answer. But that's historically how it's always kind of worked. Now you kind of hope. So we run a very different process where we meet clients more than once a year to cover off certain kind of needs they may have. But it's just finding out how often you're going to meet. What's that meeting going to look like? Is it going to be virtual? Will it be face to face? Because you got to be mindful that financial planning, financial advice firms have got to be profitable. So depending on the fees they're going to be charging and how much potentially money you've got, I know it's not the right way to look at it, you may not get a full face to face service. And that's becoming more prevalent now, and that's where this advice gap we've talked about has come before, because you might find you sit in front of a financial planner, they look at what you're going, well, actually, I can't help you because it's not profitable for them and it's not fair to them to take you on. But you just need to know what service you're going to get and how often you're going to meet with them and what that meeting is going to look like. And what I would always ask, is what is your investment philosophy? How do you invest money?
In the old days, we used to get a check, and now we do digitally. That's what people think. Investment philosophy, I think for us, I think you've said it many times, you can't control many things in the world, Ukraine or anything like that, but you can control cost, and keeping cost to a minimum has a massive impact on a compounded effect over many, many years. And any plan that you set up, you can't. I read yesterday on the Sunday Times, somebody was saying, "Oh, well done for people playing the stock market." You don't play the stock market. You invest for a specific reason over a long period of time, and that has a positive effect on the growth of your invested fund, be it ISA, bond, pension, whatever it may be. So the philosophy for us that we've adopted over many, many years now is that of a passive approach to investing, which basically means it is a funds that are they track specific indices over a long time. And because there's not much hands-on approach to that side of the business, we can keep the costs down. Whereas other organizations would have more of an active role in this. Because they're more engaged in it, there's more costs involved. But history has shown that probably over the last 2 decades, that I don't think on any occasion has any active fund, or very little, active funds out of the thousands, have outperformed the passive funds. So you're paying an extra layer of fees out of your product for something that hasn't actually done what it's supposed to do against something that is a lot cheaper.
But it also doesn't mean that if they do offer managed fund, it's a bad thing. I mean,
No.
it's because you will come across a lot of financial advisors who will just offer managed funds because they may give it out to a discretionary fund manager who just looks after their portfolios. So it doesn't mean it's kind of a bad thing. It's just that's our choice of investment philosophy. That's why I say ask the advisor what is their investment philosophy, so you can get a bit of an understanding of kind of where it's kind of going then with that.
It's a good one to follow us on. Do you do real financial planning?
Yeah, that's probably a strange question. You probably wouldn't find that anyway. You looked at what question should you ask a financial advisor, financial planner, but it's one I'd like to throw in because I think I touched on this at the beginning, where financial advice, I would say, is product sales. Financial planning is more goals driven.
Yes.
So financial planning, why I say that real financial planning is, we always say to our clients, we have no right to tell you what to do with your money until we know everything about you, your family, and how you tick and what you want to achieve. So we like to get in the depths of actually your goals, your needs, your wants, your real concerns before we actually say what to do with your money. So that's what I mean by real financial planning. And then also within that, then providing you with a financial plan and using the information of the financial plan to make you a cash flow forecast. Okay, which will have various different scenarios, also kind of some downsides in the markets, how that might affect things. So that's the reason behind why I say real financial planning. They're not just coming to you and selling you a pension, selling you an investment, and that's it. We'll see you in a year's time and we'll let you know it's gone. Actually, more about what your needs, wants, goals, and what you want to achieve. And they write a financial plan for you and use some cash flow forecasting to help plan that forward in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so then the next one, do you have an example financial plan you provide to clients?
Not on me. Yes, we do. And it's basically it's a follow on from what you said of the financial plan. We are lucky enough that we're in a fortunate position that we can give people a full plan, be it of the what they have, what they are short on, what they need to do, who needs to do it, by when, and who's going to be accountable to that. Because we will work in conjunction with them. We won't just help them. And we're lucky enough that over the last few years we've developed a really good financial plan that we can give to people, and they can pay for just that. And they can go to any other financial advisor, financial planner, and say, this is what I need. Now, they're not going to, because that other person is going to say, oh, you don't need 173 grand of life cover, you need 4 million and all that. They'll be out to sell more and more. But we are very fortunate that by having the data from the people in advance, we can produce the plan, and we can leave it at that, or we can follow on through the process, which will then allow us to get the products. Products are irrelevant. They're only going to be something that will help the person in the future. But our whole process now involves the plan, process, product. So the plan, have we got one? Absolutely. And it's bespoke to each and every single individual with balance sheets, assets, liabilities, what to do, who to do, accountability, as I said. And it's a tangible piece of paper that people can actually view and understand where they are, where they need to get to, how they need to get there, and who needs to do what work.
Yeah. But what you will find is if you have asked that question, you may find a lot of the advisors in front of actually don't have a formal financial plan. And that's not a suitability report.
Or a 27-page document, which basically just breaks down the money through a financial forecasting tool that they just go, click, print, and it does it, which some of them can do. Now, we've got snippets of that, but ours is totally bespoke.
Yeah, so
to
you'll find different
individuals.
versions of it. But a financial plan is not an advice suitability report, okay? That's where you've got to make the difference. A financial plan is a plan which talks about your needs, wants, goals, and all the things that you need to do. Now, That's one not to be confused with. So just ask them if they do have that. Now, that's a judgment call for you. Then if they say they don't do one, I think you've got to kind of then make a judgment call on whether you're happy with what they do and everything else. Because not everyone will provide you with a actual real financial plan, but it's something you should ask for.
It goes as far as saying, based on everything you need, is you have a need for £377,000 of life insurance. Now, it can't go into, as you say, saying, with Aviva costing £18.25, because that is advice. But you can get one drafted up to tell you your shortfalls.
Yeah.
Lastly, how do you charge?
Yeah, well, that's a good one. Because it's very, very different in our profession. So there's different ways you can have. You have percentage charges, so that'll be the percentage of the money you're investing. And then that will knock on to a percentage ongoing then, which could be anywhere between 0.5 and 1% of your assets that you're going to invest with them. And that'll be your ongoing cost then to the advisor. That's for them to cover all the service and all the work they kind of do. Then there's the other option is it could be a mixture of percentage and fixed fee, or it could be a mixture of fixed fee and percentage, or it could be purely fixed fee and retainer model. So that could be that you charge a fixed fee up front for the financial plan, and then a fee to transfer any assets and invest any money or set up any pensions, and then an ongoing fee, which could be fixed then per month, and that could be paid by the product, it could be paid by the individual, could be paid by the business, depends on the type of advice you're doing. So there's lots of different versions out there. Now, there's a lot of talk about, percentage based is not fair and is not good enough. You should all be fixed fee, but it's not that straightforward. And it's a little bit horses for courses and what you're kind of comfortable with. But I think the big thing you need to know from the advisor is that everything that they charge is transparent and it's not hidden. So you need to just know that however they're charging you, you know that 3% of 200,000 is £6,000 fee up front, and that's whether that's taken from the pension or you pay it yourself or investment. And then the ongoing is whatever it might be, 1% plus the costs of the platform and the investment, and your overall charges is this each year. Now, they should disclose all that to you, but you just need to make sure that's what you kind of know, okay? Exactly. And if it's a fixed fee, what it's going to be and what it's going to be going forward. And also, if it is a fixed fee, what that's incrementally going to change by each year or when they do a review of those charges. Because with a percentage, that'll go up and down with your investments. So if it's going up, they're doing quite well. If it's going down, they're not doing so well. So different advisors do different things. So we have two different models in our business. So we do have a percentage based, but we also have a fixed fee retainer option as well, which we use a lot with our clients, especially business owners, because they like that.
You know, it's very relevant in terms of charges. The Sunday Times, I'm going to sit up here again, Sunday Times on the 19th of February just gone, there was an article on there and the heading was 1 hour advice cost me £6,000. Now,
clickbait.
And the person that wrote it is very good at that. I don't have much time for him, and a lot of people in our profession don't. But this wasn't a bad article. It was wrong. It was incorrect the way it was. The wording on the heading was, but this guy basically very quickly set up a pension in 2000 pre-RDR, which was 2012. Back then, you didn't have to do much in terms of research, reports.
Like the Wild West.
It was the Wild West. But this guy probably charged X amount of money and the guy was probably paying in 100, 200 quid a month or whatever and increase it. Unbeknown to the guy, it was a commission based, which is now, there's a small amount left, but it's very much a rarity. And this guy was continuing to get an income even though he wasn't doing anything. And over the last 23 years, that had amounted to approximately, I think they said £5,997. So the guy said, I spent 1 hour with him, it cost me £6,000. So yeah, my whole taking on this was, you've had a pension for 23 years, you've done nothing about it. That's your own fault. Realistically, it should be, whether you had a relationship with this guy or it was finished, whatever, you had a duty to yourself and your partner, family, whatever, to understand what you had and make sure it was doing the best thing, matching your needs.
Yeah, you got to take some responsibility. I love how they can just blame a financial advisor. Take some responsibility.
Going back to our financial planning report, that we put down accountability. Who's responsible for what? Doing certain things, such as getting a state pension forecast. We can't get that for the individual, but it is a foundation of what they're going to get. Some people have to take accountability for them. But as you say, this guy was paying a 0.5% fee on a pot, which he was continuing to pay into. So, he knew it was there.
I bet the advice firm originally the advice wasn't. It's probably someone who bought that advice firm.
Possibly.
It's just this little pot of renewal which keeps going into
and the
places.
£6,000 is not going to be.
But there's a little
over
bit on
23 years.
the advice.
It never was going to make or break the company. Over 20, it's 500 quid a year. The big money probably only happened in the last few weeks.
In reality, that firm should have turned that off a long time ago. But it was the old rules, so it wasn't the same as it. Like now, is it if they don't respond to a certain amount of requests for a meeting, you've got to turn off the ongoing.
You've timed the turning off well, because my camera just turned off there now. So you've done that, yeah. But no, you need to take responsibility and accountability for your charges and understand what you're paying for. And there are a lot of very, very, very good financial planning, financial advising firms out there that do a really, really good job. I'd say a lot that we know, not a lot, a few that we know, predominantly down London area, that probably go above and beyond. There are some that do sweet damn all.
Oh, we know that some of the bigger firms, some of the bigger consolidator ones don't do anything where they don't really have a lot of advice on the ground.
You need to find out what you think you need. You need to have a good relationship with somebody, and you need to understand that like everything else, the cost is going up extortionately on an annual basis for everything, be it for a litre of milk or a car, and the cost for financial advice, financial planning is only going to get more expensive, unfortunately.
And it's professional advice.
But if you look at it over it's not just to retirement or whatever it may be. People have this concept that when you get to the date that you're going to retire, then everything else changes in life. No, you're still having to have money or assets or whatever they may be running possibly into your 80s and 90s. There could be your relationship with your money, maybe not the advisor, could be a 50-year relationship when you start in your 30s to your 80s.
Yeah.
So you pay for something correct at the outset and make sure that it's always relevant to you and you're up to date with all the knowledge. You mentioned not IHT, CGT there, which is changing next year. How many old advisors won't understand that, and they have bonds or GIAs that are non-ISAs, and there's going to be loads of hassle next year on all of this. If you're talking to somebody on a regular basis and understanding and having a touch point, then you're going to be okay.
Yeah. So that's it. So that's the questions we think you should ask a financial advisor in the first meeting. So follow us and subscribe if you want to learn more tips and tricks like this, because there's loads more to come.